Title: Don't want to give me access? Here you have hundreds of emails. I am currently, and with no plans on ending this, a petty revenge with a coworker now. We have changed the system, and I need to document all the incidents that are happening with the customers. My coworker plainly said to me that he won't give me access to the new system because you don't need it, and to be fair, don't know why you had access to the old one, and despite all my examples of what I need it for, he has not given my an account. Cue the petty revenge. Every time there is an incident, I send him an email. Sweet, short email with the case number and a brief description, copy-paste essentially, won't take me longer than 20 seconds to write it. After that, I've set an automatic email so that every 24 hours the email goes unanswered, a new email is sent up with a follow-up, any news on this? Title: Race to McDonald's. I'll pretend I'm deaf, was back in my hometown about 10 years ago. I had a terrible crave for McDonald's. Got in the car and started driving. McDonald's was only a couple miles away. As I'm driving down the main road, some jerk cuts me off. I am now next to him at the light and gave him a stupid look. He returned the finger. So we decided to wave at each other for a brief moment. So the light goes and now we are apparently racing. Not really, we both just were frustrated and got off the line quickly. There are two ways to get into McDonald's. You can illegally go against traffic and pop right into the drive-thru, saving you the time of staying at the light. We still didn't know we were both wanting to go to the same place. I went to the light and he took the fast illegal route to the drive-thru. The light finally turned green and I pulled into McD's drive-thru and he gave me the finger again. I rolled through the other lane, waved back at him while passing him. The lady at the counter was like, "Sir, you need to order through the intercom." I pulled out my phone and typed that I was deaf and wrote down my order. She quickly apologized and hurried my order through. Title: You took your hatred of my father out on me. You can die alone, and forgotten. In 2015, my grandmother, mother's mother, passed away from stage 4 cancer. Personally, I hated her, and I am glad she's gone. Glowing star: The story. For my entire life, she took out her hatred of my father on me because of this quote: "You look just like that bastard, and seeing your face makes me hate you just the same." Anytime my family visited her, she made it her goal to tear me down and emotionally destroy me. She hates the man who beat her daughter, but if you hated him, why were you fucking him before I was born? That aside, there were other things such as the infamous IKEA meltdown. She beat me so hard that my ribs were purple. Not to mention her threatening me if I ever spoke about her to anyone outside the family. Years of bullying and torment led me to hating her worse than I hated my father for abandoning me and my sisters as toddlers. I never thought I would carry such a grudge, but this part of me just wouldn't let it go. I went into foster care for a few years, and in 2015, I find out that Ivy, not her real name, was dying from stage 4 lung cancer. Her smoking habits fucked her up beyond saving, and her actions fucked her soul beyond redemption. Glowing star: The revenge. I waited until she was on her deathbed to see her. Nobody came, except the one who hated her the most. The rest of the family avoided her out of shame due to her shitty and abusive behavior over the years. She treated everyone like they were below her, and less than human. Purest Christian who thought herself the most righteous. That's irony, isn't it? On her deathbed, I told her this: if you had been nicer, you wouldn't be alone and forgotten like an old ruin, left buried. I hope it was worth it. The look she gave me as I was about to walk out of the room was like she just realized every shitty thing she did in her life was wrong. Not once did she ever apologize for how she treated me or others. She's now in an urn, buried in a box in a garden. Title: Pretty tree here, pretty tree there, pretty trees everywhere. So this is my coworker's story. I'll keep it short and to the point because I'm on mobile. This happened last spring. A short distance from my work, there's a grove of trees that flower in the spring. We drove past these trees every day and our supervisor always said, "I'm gonna plant one of those magpie trees in my yard." She lives in a very small town, one of those everyone knows everyone's business towns, in the middle of nowhere. She went to the city council for the permit, and they rejected her, naturally. Now I admittedly don't know much about trees, but apparently this specific species of tree is an aggressive one, and they grow 6+ feet per year. I'm sure you've already guessed that she stopped at the grove next day and grabbed a grocery bag's worth of seed pods. Her town is gonna be real pretty next spring. City council wouldn't let her plant a pretty tree in her yard, so she spread thousands of seeds across the town, and is expecting a very pretty springtime next year. Edit. According to the all-knowing internet, it's a mimosa, which isn't, depending on which website you're reading, invasive, just very common in warmer places.